There are many different types of fabrics originating from Africa. Taking West Africa alone, we can find kente, adinkra, korogo, mud cloth, Benin applique, indigo cloth, and many more. The artistic elements that characterize most of these textiles usually take the form of large motifs, vibrant colors, and traditional symbols and patterns. When I embarked on a trip to northern Ghana to observe their indigo dye pits, I least expected I would get caught up in a wave of euphoria that would take me traveling to other West African cultures to observe the various traditional textiles the region has to offer. On this journey, I discovered the fascinating history and traditions that make up these fabrics. African textiles are loved by many, but little is known about their history. These textiles have a hypnotic effect, the ability to make a grown man go backpacking on a quest to find out more about their existence. I go on a search for the treasures they hold and the mysteries they unfold. I meet the gatekeepers of these cultures, and they come in the form of custodians of tradition, chiefs, griots, craftsmen, and traders who are all helpful on this journey of enlightenment. They opened bags of information, and I found out more than I had anticipated finding. Tourists visiting Africa love to return with these fabrics as souvenirs, and African textiles are, in a real sense, a piece of Africa. Today, we will talk about Adinkra. Adinkra is used as a ceremonial cloth in Akan culture. This cloth is made with old Akan ideograms and motifs, which are still relevant to Akans today, as they ever were in the past. To begin the process of making the cloth, the artisan would first need to have his hand-woven cloth in place. If he intends to handprint symbols on cloth, this is a way that it has been done traditionally. In the past, Adinkra symbols were carved on pieces of gold. This is still being practiced here in Ntonso, the Adinkra craft village of Ghana, in the Ashanti region. These Adinkra carved symbols are then dipped in dyes and ink from trees, which are prepared traditionally. They are then hand printed on the cloth. One tree that served as a source of color for Adinkra is the Badia tree. This tree is still used in Ntonso. One early example of Adinkra cloth can be found in the British Museum, collected in 1817 by Thomas Edward Bowditch in the Ashanti Kingdom. According to oral tradition, Adinkra symbols were revealed to a German king called Kwejo Adinkra Ajiman in a dream. German was a former West African kingdom. This kingdom was located from the Brongahafo region of Ghana to neighboring Ivory Coast. This king, after the dream, drew the symbols on a god, and these symbols later became the tradition of his people. Many years after his reign, there came a later German king around the late 1700s called Nana Kofi Adinkra. By Ashanti history, he provoked the Ashanti kingdom to war. He would lose the war in the early 1800s and be marched to Ashanti kingdom, where he would also lose his life. He wore an Adinkra patterned garment while being taken to Ashanti. These symbols, not common to Ashantis then, would be interpreted as the defeated king's way of expressing sorrow. The Ashantis will trace these symbols back to the German kingdom and adapt them. Due to the sorrow associated with these Adinkra garments of the king, it would first come to represent funeral cloth in Ashanti culture, but later come to represent more than that to them. I believe, as the German King Nana Kofi Adinkra made that final journey to Ashanti, he never suspected he would become the greatest export of his kingdom. He must have thought of the disappointment that had come of his reign and ponder what might become of his kingdom and culture. He would have never known he was going along with a tradition on his back that would be embraced and passed on generations after generations to this day. As one Adinkra symbol above implies, death comes to all living. To some cultures, what matters is what piece of us lives on long after we are gone. It may take any form, be it a legacy, through a tradition, through a child, or even through a piece of cloth. This king might not have had a golden stool that could rival the power of the Ashantis, but a tradition that would be worthy of their respect. Today, Adinkra symbols are widely used and have become part of our daily lives. We see them not only in fabrics, but in logos, architecture, jewelry, and furniture, among others, here in West Africa and in other parts of the world. This narration has been reproduced from the book Journey of West African Textile Traditions.